Hi everyone, welcome to Tarot Map. I'm Kasia. In today's video I would like to share with you what decks I am going to work with in February, and also let's just briefly touch on the full moon and new moon in February. The full moon is coming very shortly. Today is 9th February when I'm recording this. The next full moon is on 12th February CET time, and in tropical astrology and in true sidereal astrology it happens in the zodiac sign of Leo, but also it's activating actually the stars of the Leo constellation. I always like when that happens. But what's interesting about the full moon, when we have the full moon, it is full moon, moon opposition sun, right? So the moon reflects the full light of the sun and it's visible in its fullness. And it's interesting that in true sidereal astrology, based on Athene Chimentis midpoint method, the sun is actually in Capricorn constellation and it is in opposition to Leo moon. So we lose the known oppositions, which is a little bit of a mind fuck. But when I read the Sabian symbol, this is Dane Rudhyar's book, and the full moon is happening on 24 degrees 6 minutes of tropical Leo. So we look one up, we round it up, so we have to check Leo 25. And the face is a large, the sentence is a large camel is seen crossing a vast and forbidding desert. Keynote says self-sufficiency in the face of a long and exhausting adventure. And it says here that the camel carries water within its body, and it is said that the dromedary is able to utilize the matter stored in its large protuberance as food. The suggestion here is that in order to be released from bondage to the old world, we should be completely self-contained emotionally. Having absorbed the mental food which this old culture has given us, we are ready to face the desert nothingness, sunya, until we reach the new world. We need total independence from our surroundings and utter self-reliance. It's really interesting that this moon is in Leo, in both stars of Leo and in the zodiac sign of Leo. And you know, when we have the opposition of Aquarius in tropical and Capricorn added, there is this sense of futuristic, but also because of this Capricorn sun, I feel this self-reliance and being able to think for yourself. But also when I was reading it intuitively, I felt, you know, something about the body and water in our body and nourishment that we put into ourselves. It's really important because maybe there is also big undercurrents of what's happening to our resources. So think about this. But Leo full moon, it's usually a very expressive time, right? It's time when the Leo energy can shine bright and in its fullness. But full moons often are completions of a cycle as well, or a point of culmination. And after the full moon, the energy is going slowly to, you know, quieten down and calm down. So this is happening on the 12th of February, and then on 28th of February, the last day of February, we have new moon in the tropical sign of Pisces on 9 degrees Pisces. And this new moon is going to be in Aquarius, when the sun is in Aquarius and conjoined the moon in Aquarius constellation. So here we have this discrepancy that happens between tropical astrology and real sky, visible sky astrology. And I like you to consider taking into you know, your knowledge, like know about both. Tropically, Pisces is a water element, changeable water, and Aquarius is a fixed air element. So we have both of these elements interwoven. And I always think that Aquarian energy is something that we need to strive for. We don't want to totally drown in emotional Pisces waters. Yes, we do want to feel emotions, but Aquarius energy from the stars, you know, what we aspire to is much more detached. So have a little bit of detachment and feel everything, dream, vision with Pisces, but also have the sense of detachment from Aquarian self. So this new moon in tropical Pisces, it's happening on 9 degrees Pisces. So let's check 10 degrees Pisces. What's the Sabian symbol for this one? 10 degrees Pisces says, an aviator pursues his journey flying through ground obscuring clouds. So we have something like a perspective from above, but we have clouds that obscure the vision. So again, with Pisces, we often deal with some unconscious stuff that's coming up. We deal with, you know, like a haze. Pisces is not very clear on concrete. It's more reliant on the signs, on intuition. It's a different type of observing or requiring information. The keynotes says man's ability to develop powers and skills which by transcending natural limitations allow him to operate in mental spiritual realms. This is the last symbol of the 68 five-fold sequence of evolving stages of consciousness and human activity. It evokes the achievement of mastery. So here we have that powerful symbol and mastery, which is interesting with the Aquarian energy that I said, a little bit of detachment, because each mastery requires discipline and a little bit of detachment, so we don't fall prey to the constantly changing emotions and sensations in our bodies. So this is happening on the last day of February. Water energy and air energy as well. I hope this, you know, gives you a little bit of a sense of the month. And now let's get over to the decks. So I'm going to work with 2 decks, and I don't know if you noticed a little shift in my channel. I still do videos when I share a lot of decks, but to be honest, I am becoming more and more interested in diving in with a couple of decks, not, you know, maybe one, because it's still me, but not many decks. So the one deck that I really want to explore this month, and most probably take traveling with me, is the Fifth Element Tarot. And I have shared a lot of images of this deck on Instagram. This deck has a personal story for me. I have purchased this deck in 2010 when I went to visit my then-to-be husband in London. And we went to this shop, astrological, like tarot kind of shop in Covent Garden in London. And I remember seeing this deck and I thought, wow, this is so amazing. It has 5 elements. It has Amma in it. And I remember I was, you know, following Amma at that time very closely. And I just loved it. So I purchased this deck, and I remember my husband bought me a top deck in the green box from 2010. And so this deck has a very special place in my heart. And what's interesting, I kind of don't use this deck very often. In 2010, you know, we were before 2012, so there was also a lot of talk of shifts and changes, etc., etc. And this deck has a little bit of, maybe I would call it new age energy, but it's deeper than that. And what's interesting now, before, you know, from 2020 until 2030, we again in this humongous initiation, and this deck seems to be timeless. And what I kind of discovered recently, like reading descriptions of this deck and like looking through the cards, that it has a lot of multi-dimensional energies, very cosmic energies, something that we kind of really moving into with Aquarian age, but also with this like expansion of our consciousness and how everything seems to be just like going really fast and expansive. And I just saw at Amy's channel, she has an interview with Martin and Damascena, the creators of this deck, and it's a really interesting conversation, so I will link it below. You can go and check it out. I think Amy's channel is called Mystical Rose Tarot here on YouTube. I highly recommend checking that discussion out, and I really want to invite them to my channel also to Inspire Tarot Map and ask them some questions about this deck, because it's a really great creation, if it doesn't age, it still kind of seems like it fits what's happening in the world right now as much as it fitted 2012 or 2010. So that's fascinating. And the book to this deck, it's really great, and it includes a lot of essential oils in descriptions. So I know that Martin wrote the book, and he is also an aromatherapist, so I also want to pick his brain about that addition and how he chose the oils, etc. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. So the fifth tarot with the companion book, I like to dive in, and what I do, I usually just pull one card and tune into it, sometimes just sit with it and do like visualization or path working with the card. I like journaling right now. I kind of slowed down a bit on being me, the fire lady, and embrace a little bit more my true sidereal Cancer and Virgo and Scorpio energies. Another deck, tarot deck that I want to use this month, so it's going to be only two, is the deck that I received from my friend Jennifer, and I love it. It's the Greenwood Tarot by Jessica Potter. And Jennifer has kindly just like printed it for me, because Jessica made the images available, and it's on linen paper. And this is the opposition to, maybe not opposition, because the fifth tarot has also a lot of grounded energy, but this one is very Celtic, very shamanic, very earthy. It has some keywords added to the archetypes of tarot, and it's more on this like British Isles, has this feel of the Celtic spirituality or Nordic, which also is part of my culture in many ways as well. So I feel very, like familiar with it. And I just kept walking with this deck. I took it out. We're below zero today, but I went out for a long walk. It's very sunny and beautiful. And I took this deck out, went to my favorite trees. I always ask questions, especially when something is bugging me. And recently I'm like thinking a lot about, just purpose. I have my Chiron return, and it's happening on my vocation point. So you may notice that there is some, I'm not maybe as present or as clear what's going on with me, but I still love my job. I'm just wondering how I can make it, how I can be best of use. I want to be useful to community. I want to be useful to the clients who get my readings, and something is just shifting within. I don't know how many of you are feeling some changes around that particular area. It's different for everybody, but it is a bit of a struggle. So, and at the same time, also a little bit kind of, it's part of growing up, right? I'm growing up again. I thought like, oh my God, you can see how I'm aging on YouTube, because I started doing YouTube 2014. And now it's 10 years later. Yeah, you can see how I'm changing. So this deck is a totally different vibe, much more nature-based, in a sense of like kind of foresty, green man, green woman type of energy. A little bit reminds me of Wildwood Tarot as well, to be honest, but it has a different vibe. And I think this is going to be a nice companion to that more cosmic fifth tarot energy. So these two tarot decks are going to be my kind of main decks, not maybe the only ones I work with, but my main decks of focus. And then this is my favorite essential oil deck right now, and I'm using this deck a lot in client readings and for myself. I'm really passionate right now still about essential oils, so I'm learning a lot. Maybe I will be studying aromatherapy soon, I don't know, we'll see. For now it's self-study for sure, and this deck is just gorgeous. And I love the simplicity of the images. It's not overpowering. It pays homage to the plant that the oil comes from. And in the booklet there is quite a lot of information about just physicality, you know, so how can you use the oil, but also some lore and myths concerning the plant. So this deck is very, very sweet, and I'm going to be using it together with the, you know, tarot decks. And I have 2 other essential oil decks that I'm using. One is this out of print, unfortunately, Spirit of the Scent Oracle. I showed it many times on my channel, so it's very cute. I love the paper of this deck and the illustrations as well. I like the choice of oils. It's a really sweet deck and has the best paper for decks. I wish most of my decks were on this paper. And then the other one is this essential oil oracle cards, which doesn't have a booklet because it has a lot of writing on the cards, but it's also really, really cool. And I like learning from different sources, so, you know, each author always brings something interesting to the table. And these 3 decks do just fine for my oracle, and also because I'm collecting like my medicine box from the oils, you know, I often also add the physical element to my readings. Oh, this is my favorite oil right now, the Vanna. And just do sometimes a mix of oils, like in those, I bought a lot of those tiny little bottles. They have, you know, the rollers, and sometimes I ritualize my readings by making the combination of oils, or one oil that I would like to kind of empower, you know, in this way. So these 3 essential oil decks, and then I got that tiny little wild unknown archetypes, pocket archetypes. It's so cute. I always love using it. I always use it for my month ahead readings, this deck. It's just so cute in this small form. It shuffles much better. You can actually shuffle it, not like the big ones. But the book is like tiny, so I'm definitely using the book from the... Come on, focus. Yeah, I'm using the book from the big box. I mean, you can still read it, but yeah, at my age, you like going far away with it. But it's very cute to use, and yeah, it's a sweet pocket edition of our one of the oldie and goodie. It's a really great deck by Kim Krans. I also thought recently about Kim Krans decks and the Wild Unknown, and any of her decks, they also timeless. That's a really, you know, good indication of a great tarot deck when it doesn't age so much. All right, for today I think that's it. I hope you have a good February, and I highly encourage you to check out any readings that I offer, astrology and tarot oracle readings. I'm still available with them for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll see what I do. I'm going away for a while, but I might keep working. We'll see how it goes. I don't mind. Just check out my website. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think and what you're using in February.